Hi, this is Ken Biles from CyberWitchcraft.com. Well, with just a couple of days left in October, looking out my window here, we've got the first snowfall of the season. I thought this is a good time to talk about Samhain. Now, Samhain is a Celtic festival. It's the spelling, you would think it's pronounced Samhain, but it's actually Samhain. A lot of Celtic words are that way. Odd pronunciations for the way they're spelled. Samhain was originally a harvest festival. In fact, it's the third harvest festival of the year, third and last harvest festival of the year, and this is basically how our ancestors observed and acknowledged the death cycle. You know, if you look outside, unless you live in the southern hemisphere or southern California where things never die, everything outside your window is dying. All of the crops, all of the flowers, all of the vegetables, all of the trees are losing their leaves. Everything is dying. And it's very evident that the earth is dying. It's no longer bountiful and fruitful. And our ancestors saw this and recognized it as such. So they decided that they should acknowledge this. This is a part of life. Just as they also knew that next spring everything would return back, they knew that this part of the dying cycle was bound to happen. So, with death, and with this concept of everything dying, they also associated it with the deaths of people. You know, people die throughout the year, but because everything in the world, the natural world, is dying off at this point, people started to associate this time with the time of the year when all those who had died move on and continue on into their next life. It was thought that the veil between this life, this physical life that we all share, and the next life, whatever that may be, is the thinnest. And so, therefore, the spirits of the dead, those who have already passed, must be able to come back and communicate and walk among us. In fact, the custom of dressing up for Halloween comes from the Irish, who are descendants of the Celts. And the idea that at this time the spirits can walk among us. And because the Christian concept of death is very frightening, people found the idea of spirits walking among us to be very scary. It was thought that if a spirit caught you, it could take you with them over to the other side. So people started to dress up as spirits. They figured that if you couldn't tell the difference between a spirit and a person who was dressed as a spirit, then you could go along outside after dark and not have to worry about it. And so they started to dress up as ghouls and spooks and anything else you can think of. A lot of the stuff that you associate with Halloween. These all come from customs, ancient customs, due to death rites. A lot of it has been Christianized over the years, but the original pagan beliefs were that the veil between this world and the next is thin, and that the spirits walk among us at this time, and that we can easily communicate with them. There's also a pagan tradition of what's called the Dumb Supper. Now, when I was a kid, there was a politically incorrect term to refer to someone who was deaf and couldn't speak. They were called deaf and dumb. In this context, dumb meant that they were unable to speak. Well, that applies to this supper. It's a dumb supper. No one speaks. Typically what happens is you set a large table with, for all the guests, plus an extra place. And the extra place is for all the spirits. You set out and you put food out and you serve everyone, including the plate that's for the spirits, and everyone eats dinner completely silently. And this is a time to reflect upon those who have passed before us, our ancestors, our family, our friends, those who have gone before us. You spend the entire time eating, reflecting upon the people that you no longer have with you. The plate that was set out for the ancestors gets taken outside and left, and then the parties begin. Now, as witches, we have a whole lot of parties. There are 2 different witches' balls here in Denver. One was this past weekend, the original, which is this was the 18th year, and then there's the Ultimate Witches' Ball, which will be this coming Saturday, which is actually on Samhain, which should be interesting. I'm kind of curious to see how many people make it. I won't be one of the people going to that particular ball. I've got ritual to be at midnight here with my group of witches and a bunch of people that have been invited. We will be parting the veil. We will invite the spirits into our circle, and we will part the veil, and then we will call a guide from the other side to help the spirits move on to the next life. After the ritual is done, I'm going to see if we can't get some props together. I've got a crystal ball and a dark mirror and a bowl of water, and we'll see if we can't do some scrying, maybe some tarot cards or a Ouija board, whatever we come up with to see if we can't look into the future. If I had a fire pit, or even a portable fire pit, I would put together a fire and we'd do some fire scrying. I've done that before, and it's always a lot of fun. But these are some of the things that can be done at Samhain. Don't forget that this is the Celtic New Year. It's also the Norse New Year. I don't remember offhand. I don't remember what the Norse call it, and my friend Magni will probably kill me for not remembering this, but it's New Year for a lot of different cultures. And it only makes sense, really. If you think about it, we celebrate New Year January 1st, which is the first day of January, an arbitrary month, but it's in the middle of winter. I mean, it's right after the winter solstice. It's right after the winter solstice. So it's actually the middle of winter. Celebrating the New Year now, we're celebrating the beginning of the year at the beginning of winter. I mean, granted, the calendar says it's still fall, and it will be fall until the winter solstice. But if you look outside, if you look at what the season is really doing, it really is the beginning of winter now. And it just makes sense that this would be the proper time to start the new year. So, those are just some thoughts and ideas I've had. I thought I would tape them and see if I could put them up. I hope everyone has a wonderful Samhain, and we'll see you later.